Welcome to NIOS. As you know, that we had covered the topic First World War in our previous video. In this video, we will talk about Second World War as the fourth and final part of this chapter 4. As you are already aware that the First World War was the worst human tragedy that proved to be very harmful for the world. However, this war was not the last, and the world faced another war within 20 years. Before we study about the Second World War, let us try to know what changes happened in the world during this time period. For this, first let us understand the term dictatorship. A dictatorship is a government in which one person makes all the rules and decisions without taking other people's advice. We can say that a dictatorship means absolute power of one person. This dictatorship was the most important development in European countries like Italy and Germany. In Italy, dictatorship started under the leadership of Mussolini, where it was known as fascism. Mussolini's rule continued from the year 1925 till the year 1943. During this time period, he banned all the political parties, made policies single handedly, and took all the political decisions. Similar like fascism in Italy, dictatorship arose in Germany and it was called as Nazism. Under the leadership of Adolf Hitler. As in the last video, you have seen that the Treaty of Versailles that the Treaty of Versailles Germany had to sign after the First World War, and it was humiliating and forced upon her. The German people disliked the terms of this treaty, and Hitler had promised them that he would once again make Germany a great power and take revenge for the injustice done to her. So, due to this, many Germans believed his theory and they supported Hitler and his policies too. However, it won't be wrong to say that later Hitler and his Nazis proved not just harmful to the Germany but led to the outbreak of the Second World War. The First World War ruined the economies all around the world. European countries like Britain and France were badly affected, leading to rise in unemployment and poverty in these countries. But on the other hand, American economy developed at a fast speed, and during this time, in fact, United States of America developed as a new superpower. But in the year 1929, all this changed when America was badly hit by the economic crisis due to overproduction of goods. The prices of commodities decreased due to lack of money. The banks were closed and people's savings in them were lost. Unemployment and poverty hit the nation, and due to all this, a new government was formed in America led by Franklin Roosevelt. And he started a new program of economic development called as New Deal. As you know, that Japan was the only imperialist Asian country that had colonies. During the two world wars, her power increased further as she increased her military powers and supported fascism. At this time, Japan signed the Rome Berlin Tokyo Axis with the fascist countries like Italy and Germany. Thus, we see that the growth of fascist powers had become a big danger for world peace. Here we should remember that League of Nations, the new world organization which was formed after the First World War to ensure world safety and security, had also failed in its objective to prevent wars. All these reasons put together pushed the world into the mouth of the Second World War. Let us now try to find out those reasons that led to the outbreak of the Second World War. We know that Germany had been badly treated after the First World War, and her economic, military, and political powers was destroyed by the victorious nations. The German people wanted to take revenge for this injustice, and the Nazi Party, led by Hitler, further strengthened such ideas. Italy, under Mussolini and his fascist party, also believed in winning new countries and expanding their borders. Japan also joined these two countries as she had military ambitions. The coming together of Italy, Germany, and Japan was a danger signal to the peace and stability of the world, as it led to many incidents of attack on other countries for gaining new territories. It has to be remembered that the other European countries remained neutral towards the aggressive attitude of the fascist nations. They adopted the policy of appeasement towards fascist nation. Appeasement was the foreign policy of Britain and France to give unnecessary concession to the fascist countries during the year 1930s to avoid conflict with them. At the same time, it should also be remembered that the Western countries were worried about the rise of Soviet Russia. So they adopted the policy of supporting Italy and Germany, as both of them were against the communist policies of Russia. All this while, many wrong and dangerous activities of fascist countries were ignored by the Western countries. For example, Germany increased her army many times, and when a civil war started in Spain between the lawfully elected government and fascist leader General Franco, it was Hitler who supplied weapons to throw away the democratic government. However, Britain and France did not oppose Hitler's action. This increased his confidence and he signed the Munich Pact with France and Britain in 1938. According to this agreement, Germany was allowed to occupy Sudetenland in northern Czechoslovakia. However, later Germany captured entire Czechoslovakia. At this time, Britain and France wanted Germany and Italy to act against Russia. However, Russia signed an agreement with Germany by which they both agreed not to attack each other. This gave Russia time to prepare for any war in the future. Thus, the stage was set for another world war, and it was just a matter of time till it actually happened. However, the immediate cause of the Second World War was the attack of Germany on Poland on 1st September 1939. This war proved to be far more destructive than the First World War and came to an end in September year 1945. We will now focus on the results of Second World War. There were great loss of human life and property took place as such war had never been seen in human history. Millions of people were left homeless as thousands of buildings were destroyed while many others were left handicapped. During the course of the Second World War, the Jews of Germany faced most inhuman treatment at the hands of the Nazis. They were either sent to extermination camps or concentration camps. An extermination camp was a place where the people were killed systematically as soon as possible by putting them in gas chamber, while concentration camps were those places where political and other undesirable elements were kept by Nazis like Jews, Serbs, disabled, and criminals, and they were starved, tortured, and then killed. The Second World War saw the worst human tragedy in the form of dropping of bombs on Japanese city of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And during the final stage of Second World War, America dropped two nuclear bombs over Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In these bombings, more than 1 lakh people were killed, most of whom were civilians, and many more were left crippled, diseased, and blinded. After the Second World War, German Nazi Party was banned and the army was also disbanded. Another important result of the war was the weakening of imperial countries and rise of America and Russia as two superpowers. In fact, the world was now divided into two blocks, the American blocks and the Soviet Russia bloc. The tension between these two countries led to the Cold War that continued for a very long time. On the other hand, the imperial countries like Britain and France became weak after the Second World War, and most of their colonies in Asia and Africa gained independence from foreign rule. This was a positive outcome of the Second World War. You must be aware that our country India became free from British rule in the year 1947. We have seen in the previous video that the end of the First World War led to the formation of the League of Nations, and after the end of the Second World War, another international organization was formed. This organization was called as the United Nations Organization, or in short we say UNO. Three world leaders were behind its birth. They were British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, Russian leader Stalin, and American President Franklin Roosevelt. And finally, on the 24th October 1945, the United Nations was born. The basic aim of the UNO was to maintain peace and security in the world and prevent any wars in future and peacefully solve disputes between various countries of the world. We should remember that, like League of Nations, the UNO too aimed at maintaining peace and security in the world. It was also formed to develop friendly relations between different countries of the world, solving economic, social, political, and humanitarian problems of the member countries is another important role of the United Nations organizations. It must be remembered that protection of human rights and maintaining basic freedom of the people of the world is another important duty of the UNO. With this, we come to the end of this video. I hope that your concept of Second World War and all the related events is clear now. Till we meet next time, take care and bye. For more information, you can visit our website www.nios.ac.in. You can also email us at signlanguage@nios.ac.in. Thank you so much for watching.